Full disclosure, I wasn't even planning to do a video today. Literally happened to get my nose on this release on a whim. And by chance and luck, I got to sample the scent. Hey guys, it's Lisa here, and today I'll be discussing my thoughts on the latest release from Parfums de Marly. It's called Altaire. So before we even get into the fragrance itself, let's just talk about the bottle. First impressions of the Altaire bottle, I mean, the color is screaming pumpkin spice chai latte. And I feel like it's a little bit of foreshadowing for the fragrance itself because it screams fall, and the actual fragrance does so too, in my opinion. One thing I want to note is that this fragrance is geared towards men. That's just the way it's marketed. But after smelling this, honestly, smells completely unisex. Like, I would totally wear this fragrance. It's quite gourmand, and I think it's kind of a perfect balance of both masculine and feminine. Ladies, if you're watching, definitely go get your nose on this scent. Don't be turned off by the fact that it's marketed as a men's fragrance. Let's get into some of the notes. This fragrance features top notes of cardamom, bergamot, cinnamon, and orange blossom. It has middle notes of bourbon vanilla, eleme, and base notes of praline, musk, ambroxan, and guaiac wood. I'm going to talk about the opening. So the opening to me of this fragrance is quite spicy. You definitely smell the cardamom and the cinnamon in the opening. It's kind of airy to begin with, and as time goes on, to me, it gets a little more, it gets slightly louder. But the opening to me is a mix of the cardamom, the cinnamon, and actually kind of the sweetness of the vanilla. I genuinely didn't pick up on the orange blossom. I mean, like, usually in most fragrances I can smell it right away, but in this one it feels more like a background player. So if you're like me and that note of orange blossom can be a little scary at times because it tends to be overpowering in a lot of fragrances, I would say that you have nothing to fear here. And, you know, definitely give it a try regardless of the fact that it has orange blossom as a top note. Because, like I said, it's pretty light. I don't really sense it right away at all, if at all, to be honest. I also feel like I'm picking up on some of the resinous-iness coming from the eleme, which, if you haven't been following me, is a note that I have since fallen in love with after first initially smelling it in YSL's Baby Cat. So once you get to the dry down, the two notes that really stand out to me are that praline and the ambroxan. It's the praline that really makes this shine as a gourmand to me. And then you smell that note of ambroxan that kind of almost has a bit of a gasoline-like smell in the background, but in a good way. I promise you, it's in a good way. It gives it like depth, it gives it some complexity. But I will say, if you really aren't into that kind of slightly burnt rubber smell in some fragrances, such as Baccarat Rouge 540, you may not enjoy this scent, because I definitely can smell something like that, like in the back end of that praline, sweet vanilla notes that are there. But to be completely honest, that whole kind of praline, ambroxan, musk that is at the base of this really reminds me of another perfume. And the perfume that it's kind of bringing up in my mind is Bond Number 9's Greenwich Village, which is another scent that I really enjoy. So if you happen to know what that smells like, to me, this fragrance has a very similar dry down to that one. I will say that when in comparison with Greenwich Village, this one is slightly warmer. It has more of a spiciness to it. It's kind of like a cozier scent, almost like maybe the masculine cousin of Greenwich Village. While I can't really attest to longevity, what I can say is that typically when I'm sampling fragrances, I like to do the single spray test. So I have one spray of Parfums de Marly Altaire on my hand. And I want to say for the first maybe 2 or 3 hours, the scent trail was pretty strong for just one spray. And then maybe after those first 2 or 3 hours, it kind of got a little more faint, but you know, going through the day, I could still smell it. You know, I didn't lose it anywhere throughout the hours afterwards. So for me, that's an excellent sign and a true test to how strong the fragrance is. And Parfums de Marly is pretty much known for having good, strong, potent fragrances. I have to say, overall, I'm really enjoying this scent. It's definitely a pleasant surprise. And like I said earlier, I feel that even though this is geared for men, ladies can definitely rock this. I mean, it is super sexy, it's super gourmand, and definitely something that would be a really nice fragrance for the fall and winter seasons. I would love to know your thoughts on this fragrance. If any of you guys have had the chance to get your nose on this, please chime in the comments below and let me know what you think. As per usual, I'd like to thank you for watching my video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.